Come on in and experience some of this awesome service and amazing presentations up on that main stage for yourself. Progressive Motorcycle Insurance hooking you up and giving you some of that awesome customer service that we are absolutely legendary for over here by hooking you up with absolutely free barbershop services back there at the Chop Shop. Our resident mechanic Daniel's back there as well, working away on that Yamaha. If you've got any questions about how to maintain your bike, feel free to stop by the Chop Shop and chat with our in-house resident mechanic Daniel, as well as get yourself signed up and take advantage of those free barbershop services back there. We also are hooking you up with absolutely free tattoos, airbrush tattoos that is, from our friends Ink Tattoo Magazine. We are also still signing folks up right now for your chance to win our grand prize giveaway bike, and when you get entered, you automatically are going to be able to pick up some free swag and free goodies over at the swag counter. All sorts of awesome free stuff going on over here. Last but certainly not least, if you are a Progressive policy holder, bring that policy card on over to the coffee grinder station. We've got your VIP gift waiting for you over here. 1 out of 3 of you is a Progressive policy holder. Welcome back. We love to see you. Show me that policy card or an email from us, and I got some extra VIP goodies for you. But if you'd like to learn how to join our Progressive family, I certainly don't blame you. America's #1 rated motorcycle insurance company. We got a great local agent that would love to talk to you about making the switch. But come on over, folks. We've got another great presentation starting up in just a few minutes here at the main stage. We've got plenty of seats available, so come on over. Make yourselves at home. Do get yourself signed up. Take advantage of these awesome services going on here in the parlor, though. Experience some of that awesome customer service all for yourself. Courtesy of America's #1 rated motorcycle insurance company. That's us over here at Progressive Motorcycle Insurance. Well, come on over, friends, and grab a seat. Please put your hands together and welcome up to that front stage up there our last presentation of the day from the Grease and Gears folks. I've got Pat up there on that main stage.
Really? Really? Let's practice this. Come on. Come on, Grady. Give it up. Give it up, Grady. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I call a smattering of applause. Feel like I'm at the Holiday Inn in the lounge doing my act. So.
Golf clap.
Anyway, I am Pat Jansen, Sin Central Garage. I'm here with Grease and Gears Garage, though. We're really excited. We're Facebook Live in this. We've been invited, just a bunch of greasy mechanics with our tools up here on stage, to all 7 Progressive International Motorcycle shows, just to invite you guys into our garage and kind of show you what we do a little bit. So we hang out, and, of course, usually what it ends up looking like is a bunch of 13-year-old boys, poking fun at each other. But, that's what it's like. But so far on the Grease and Gears Garage stage, we've had guys like Chris Richardson from LA Speed Shop narrow a fuel tank for us. We've had Evan Favaro build one from scratch. We had Kyle Shorey make us some custom exhaust on a bike last weekend. But today we're really excited for this feature of Grease and Gears Garage. This particular segment got a good friend of everybody in the motorcycle industry, loves this guy. And it's obviously not for his good looks or his wealth. It's just because he is a genuinely good guy. But it's Kevin Teach Baas, and he's one of your local guys made good. And I guess, Kevin, you brought us a video that probably explains better than either one of us could succinctly why you do what you do. So you want to go ahead and roll that?
Yeah, what we had happen here is I've been a public high school shop teacher for 22 years, going on my 23rd year. And as a shop teacher, tech ed teacher, you want to find ways to get kids excited about something. Dangle that carrot, get them going after something. What's the end product? Something cool, And in shop class, metalworking, teaching welding and machines, a lot of times you make small things that kind of get thrown in the scrap bin, or maybe you can take it home, make a little pen or something. But I saw a bigger vision. I wanted to make like choppers, I wanted to utilize these kids' excitement level to build a custom bike. Utilize all the skills we make, not have to open a textbook and say, all right, today you're just going to read chapter 1 and do this worksheet. We're going to do chapter 1 on that bike and learn about rake and trail and geometry and gear ratios and oil viscosities and welding and fabrication, all that stuff. Do it with your hands,
Yeah, man.
Have fun doing it. And that's what gets kids excited. I was one of those kids in high school. I couldn't sit through a normal school class. I had to be in my shop. I still talk to my shop teachers. They love it. They love seeing what I've been doing. They're my biggest supporters, and it's so cool. And I want that to be the legacy I leave with my students. I want them to see my passion, that I care about them. And I'm trying to teach them career skills. There's a difference between a job and a career. You get a job when you get out of high school because you really don't know what you want to do. A lot of times you're hitting snooze 8, 9, 10 times to get up because you don't want to go to work. That job sucks. And what happens 5 years down the road? You buy a car, you buy a house, you get married, you have kids, you got all these bills, and you're still stuck in this job you hate. But how do you tell your bill collectors, hey, give me a couple years to find something I really want to do. Don't ask me for money. Let me figure this out. It's too late. You're stuck. Right? So I want my students to realize when they leave my doors as a senior, they graduate, they got a career path laid out. They're going to do good things. They're going to come back and tell me, hey, look at all this awesome stuff I'm doing. And I don't have to hit snooze in the morning. I get up. And that's how I am. I love it. I'm passionate. And so Harley Davidson, that's where I'm from, Milwaukee originally. Moved up here because of my wife. She drugged me up here, and I love Minnesota, so good to be here. But I started doing this 22 years ago. Started working on the bike stuff about 13, 14, 15 years ago or so. And found as a way to really hook kids and hook the community and hook the industry. I've traveled all over the world. Absolutely. We've had a bike in the Harley Museum for a year that we built, and it's made partnerships. It's made some of my students find successful careers. I have one of my first students chopper class is an engineer for Indian right now. Another one, a girl that you can see in this video, went to MMI. She graduated top of her class. She beat the instructor in a wheel lacing contest. I showed her how to lace wheels and true them. She beat the instructor there. Now she's working at Mile High Harley in Colorado. So anyway, Harley was one of my best sponsors, SNS. Guys like Donnie Smith. We got Donnie Smith over there. He's always been behind me and the kids. He's come in. Neil Ryan's always been behind me and the kids. Okay, they really care about what I do. They've been there. They've helped me support it and get it going. And we're always at the Donnie Smith show every year with a booth. So make sure you come to that show. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have our new Lakeville chopper class. So I've been at Bloomington Kennedy for 22 years. So if anybody that's heard of me has heard a Kennedy chopper class from Mr. Bass. Well, now it's turned into Lakeville North. I moved schools, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Not to get off track, but Harley Davidson sent a camera crew with me for a whole summer, and they filmed and got 5 minutes worth of video to show. So anyway, here it is.
Here we go. Thanks, TJ.
Hard work is where it is. Nothing's free, nothing's easy, and if you can sit around on a couch and complain that life's not fair, you're never going to get off that couch. So my legacy is going to be one of hard work pays off. Don't mistake luck with hard work. You don't just get lucky all the time, but if you work hard all the time, luck happens to you. Things will come to you. I found an inner desire to, kind of pass the torch or create a legacy, just from my mentors that helped show me that I was somebody that could succeed. And I only became the man I am because of the people that believed in me and helped me focus my energy. So now I want to pass that torch. I don't want to forget about that, and I want my legacy to continue. So I'm going to help raise students and my children, so someday maybe they'll be sitting in this chair talking about why they're passing the legacy, and they'll say, my dad, I want to make sure people take from me as much as I was given from others and keep that moving. So, it's just one of those things where I keep pushing these kids in all different directions to find their niche, because that's what I needed. And once you find your niche and you can help them excel with it, they're going to succeed, Andy was one of those students that, I saw the light bulb in her head turn on the minute I showed her how to use the first piece of equipment, and it never stopped. That bulb only got brighter as the years progressed. From day one of actual instruction and watching her soak it in and let everything go right into her head and then remember it and then do it and ask good questions and want to learn, I realized, oh my gosh, this is exactly the kind of student that, as a teacher, That's what you want. You want them coming in fresh and new, not sure if this is it, and then you want to lay out your curriculum and become, the teacher that you always think you would be, that would really get a student's eyes to open up and turn the light bulb on. You get a lot of good kids, and once they graduate, all of a sudden it's like the light switch turns off because now real world's here, it's time to do something else, I gotta find my way. But with Andy, that light switch, she just ended up adding a second bulb to it and getting it brighter and brighter, she wants to pursue this. She's gonna do good things. I'm gonna help her any way I can to take her education as far as she can and be successful. One of the things that really helps my class thrive and is going to keep it alive is the support I get. Without any industry support and people outside of my classroom, building, helping us, we just don't have the funds. We don't have what it takes to keep it going. I'm a one-man show with a very small budget trying to do something that I see as good for kids. And what's really kept this dream alive and brought it to the next level is my sponsors, people in the industry stepping up. And, Harley's been one of our biggest promoters, sponsors, just helps. The people at Harley are awesome. They watch what I do and they care what I do, and they back up what I do. The Harley brand, it's a way of life. It's a way to express yourself. Where you can't do that with just everything. When I'm dead and gone, when my children take over my place and my grandkids come in here, I want them to see walls and walls of history and stories that tell about how grandpa or great-grandpa worked his tail off, to buy this farm, get a place to raise his kids, and, someday be remembered as a good guy.
I just have a moment to collect myself? No, that's awesome. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah,
it really made you sound cool.
You can polish a turd,
I tell you, well, they just did. I'm telling you, man. No, that was awesome. You got a couple of students up here. I know that you want to share their experiences. And
yeah, so as you saw from that video, it's kind of my life passion, my life dream of just helping kids learn, because I was one of those kids at my shop teacher. I know he saved me. If it wouldn't have been for him taking all my negative energy and bad things I was thinking about doing and becoming a better welder and a fabricator and a better person, and my parents always pushed me, it changed my life. It kept me out of trouble. It gave me a way to focus my energy on something cool. And, I was at 22 years at Kennedy. This year is my first year at Lakeville North. So my goal there is I got 22 years to go before I can retire. I wanted to come in this year at that school and really make an impact. Show these kids that, man, there's a new guy in town. He cares. He loves it. He's dedicated to making this the best program in the state, and he's got history that he wants to bring and help recreate that. So I got a couple students. I wasn't able to get everybody up here today. I got a couple students in my class, 2 seniors. They've been through the shop classes through the years, so they see me now, and they kind of have a different perspective, like, wow, look at what this guy's bringing to the table compared to what we've done in the past. We've done a little project. So I'm going to let them just give a little quick blurb about what they think about myself coming in with the class, what they're getting out of it, and kind of in a nutshell just how it is.
So I'm Tyler Johnson from Lakeville North, like Bass said, but freshman year it started, the class was not the best. There was not many technology, nothing much to be used. Bass came in, totally changed the shop. There's been tools in there that never been used, and Bass brought the technology in with the class. And, honestly, I wish I could start back to freshman year just so I had these tools and stuff we could use. But, he makes me want to be motivated for class. He's really setting us up for the future for the class. We've learned to do stuff like this. We're working on a bike right now. And, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
You can always fail and take it again. You just come back next year. Just stop going to other classes, and they'll let you repeat a whole year. Trust me, you can repeat a whole year.
Don't get me in trouble now.
Yeah, so pretty much the same thing as Tyler said. It kind of sucks that we're seniors because we only have the rest of this year to use all the stuff that Teach has brought in. But like, there's stuff in this class that.
Oh, it's the garbage
that's
cart.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, and like freshman year we had like some old welders and like a broken plasma cutter, and now we have all this new stuff that when I was a freshman I never thought we would have this stuff because it's just such a high quality and like. But then he also teaches us just to be good people and not just good people in the shop, but just have good values and be on time and always show up and have a good attitude. And like we're doing stuff with like wood that our wood program got cut like a long time ago, and now we're bringing it back, and we have 3D printers and just a bunch of new equipment that can help us just be a better overall person. And
that's a big part of this. I want these kids to be good people first and foremost, soft skills. You can be an awesome welder, but if you can't get along with anybody and you're a dickhead, you're not going to get a good job because, unless you're working for yourself. You want to work as a team player, these kids learn that.
Jesse James is a terrible example of that.
Yeah.
Jesse James is a terrible example. Go ahead. No.
We go through what's called the 10 Commandments of School and Career Success. The first one is just show up. I have so many companies that come to me. You got any kids that want to get hired and make good money that will just show up on time, come every day, not give me the excuse that like an alien ate their keys and they can't come in? And then things like getting along with each other, play nice in the sandbox, right? No whining. No whining is one of my 10 commandments. These kids do not whine to me. You know why? Because they're problem solvers, not problem askers. That's huge. This world needs more problem solvers. What we have right now is a world of problem askers. Why? Because they take their phone and they ask for the answer. They don't have to figure it out. They don't have to think about it. They just push a couple buttons. How do you do this? Oh, look at that YouTube video. Yeah, I can do that. All right, cool. Nah, not these kids. These kids are getting dirty. They're making stuff. They're doing it, right? Hold that sign up. It's a brand new machine I just got for these guys to use. We made this sign in about 10 minutes. All we had to do is go online, Google search Cycle Source Magazine, find a black and white image of their logo, download it in, set up our wood, set our zeros, set our tool pass, and boom, there we go. We got it. And how many people, that kind of technology in a high school, it needs to be taught. Do I still show old stuff? Absolutely. I'm old school. All my bikes are kick only. I have old knuckleheads. My newest bike's 1947. So I like old stuff. We have old Bridgeport Mills and old South Bend Lays. These kids learn on that. They learn to appreciate that. Then they learn the new stuff that actually companies are saying, hey, we need somebody to be able to program this machine and know how to, pick cutting speeds and do all this stuff. So I'm trying to make these kids well-rounded, more than just one little bubble. I want to open up so many pathways and doors so that every one of them can find their niche, find where they want to go, and I'm going to help them find partners. I'm going to help them find sponsors. I'm going to help them find jobs. And so I shouldn't say jobs, careers that they can go in that area.
Well, because, you do run into so many people that, they know how to run a CNC machine. They know all the new technology. They know all that stuff. But when the economy goes down and all of a sudden you lose that job, now you're kicked over. If you can't run a Bridgeport,
right?
The
worst engineers, which are most of them nowadays, what I see is ones that don't know how to weld or use their hands.
Right.
To an engineer, everything's possible on a computer screen, but to the actual fabricator, right, Kyle? You know this. You know what it takes to build something. Yeah, you can have some genius that says, "Yeah, make this part." It's like, whoa, dude. Do you even know what it's going to take to do that? That's, but these guys are going to know that, hey, this is what we got to do to run the hand stuff, to do the welding, do the machining. So when they design stuff as an engineer, they know limitations better, and they know what's going to help them be more successful. So that's just my goal. I appreciate these guys for coming in. Give them a round of applause. It's all about the kids.
Absolutely. And this was Jed. We didn't get your name out there. That's Jed. And
actually, Jed was my old neighbor in my old house. He watched me. I watched him grow up, and he watched me doing burnouts and wheelies up and down the street for years on my old bikes.
Nice. So he's got stories for the other kids.
Yeah. I want to pass my class exhibit.
But no, he doesn't. He wants to come back. No, that was you that wants to come back next year.
Keep a secret if two are dead, right? All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate
man.
it.
It's good to meet both of you. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, so I guess the main reason why I'm up here is just to do a demo on some part fabrication. And this is from Weld Tables, right, Chris? Where's Chris?
Yeah, weldtables.com.
Weldtables.com. These guys are awesome. They donated a 4-foot by 10-foot table to my classroom. at Lakeville North. So please look them up. Thank this guy. He's a rags to riches story. Dave, the owner, was homeless when he was young, but he knew how to weld. And he came and talked to my kids when he donated his table, the big one, and he talked to the kids about, you know what, if I didn't know how to weld, my shop teacher didn't teach me those values, he would have failed. He went from a homeless kid living in a shelter, but he could weld, and that welding pushed him, and he kept him going, and he gradually would start build up people and said, hey, we know this guy that can weld, let's hire him. Now he's got this company because of his welding. He talked to my kids about it. He's slated to do $5 million this year in sales. That's awesome. So for my students to hear that, he came in, talked to him, he donated a table. Awesome. So look up Weld Tables. Amazing guy, good company. This stuff is bulletproof. It's awesome.
Sure
It's
is.
awesome. So what we're going to do today is show you how to make a battery box. This is the class bike that I'm working on with my kids, one of our projects. This one has an original. This is the real deal. So John Harmon made this. This is one of his old spurters from way back then. And those of you that know what a spurter is, it's a girder front end, but it's a Springer incorporated. So these back legs here, actually, if you look close, you'll see a little rod. There's springs in this leg. So it's a spring-loaded girder. Normally a girder has a big shock here. You can walk around, there might be a girder in here that has that. So this design style is a girder, but with what John did is he engineered it to put springs inside, so we call it a spurter. It's a Springer, but a girder. And he incorporated his bars. So this is a pretty rare piece. I'm pretty proud to have that, have the kids help us. The wheels on this are from Lead Sled Customs. Pat's a good brother. He donated those wheels, some of his Invaders. Avon Tires, best in the industry, donated his tires for us. Baker Transmission, Bert Baker, he's my man. He gave us a 4-speed, original style. BDL Primaries, best in the business. They gave us the belt drive on it. An old solid copper fender that we're working on. The frame was donated by Rick Bray of RKB Speed. We made the tank last year in class at Kennedy. Now it's going to work on this bike, and we're going to do a lot more stuff now. So we got to build a battery box. We got to build an oil
S&S
tank.
knuckle, right?
S&S knuckle, yep. They gave us a good deal on it, so we could pick it up without having to pay retail, which is nice. And S&S has given us motors in the past. They've been a huge supporter. Good people, good company. So this is kind of, you can see what it looks like right now. And if you come to the Donnie Smith Show this March, you'll see this thing looking a lot closer. It may be done, maybe not. I don't know. I got so much going on. We're going to try to get as far as we can. But, so for instance, you want to make something, you need something for this bike. Now, liability's sake, at the school, we cannot build frames or front ends. If those would fail, liability-wise, lawsuit-wise, I would lose the whole program. So we need to get a frame. We need to get front ends from reputable manufacturers that have liability insurance and have MSOs so it can be registered.
So they're going to come back on John Harmon for that front end.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well,
I think it's stood up to the test of time. It ain't.
Yeah,
it
it's
ain't
probably
gonna break.
not going anywhere. So.
But we're going to build our own frames in class and build our own front ends to show them the process. But those get hung on the wall. We can't put them on a bike that potentially could get sold and be on the road, liability-wise. So just understand that. I'm not trying to teach a puzzle class, just puzzle together a bunch of pieces from everybody else. We want to build as much as we can and do it. Even though this frame we didn't build, we're going to build one to show them that process so they understand. But we'll be using this one on the finished product to get registered. So what I'm going to do today is just looking at this bike and what we need to do. And my demonstration doesn't quite fit this actual bike. It's a different one we have in class that we're going to do. Because this one I'm going to put a magneto on. I'm a big magneto guy. I got them tattooed on my arms and stuff. I like kick-only mags. All my knuckles and my old pants, I have them. But on this one, we're going to put a mag. So this is not even going to need a battery. We're going to put the generator on for our power, and we're good. Once it's started, your lights come on. You don't need anything. But my demo today is going to be how do you make a battery box? Because what I want to teach my kids, if you want something for a bike, if you're building a custom chopper, and all you do is open up a catalog and go, I'll take A, B, C, D, and E, shows up, put it together. You did a puzzle. You're a puzzle builder, right? You're not a fabricator. You're not a bike builder, right? I want to teach kids to look at everything and how do you build it. So, yeah, we're going to build ourselves something similar to this and then hang it on the wall. But then they'll see the process. What did it take to get all this done? And what does it take to make a frame and keep everything in alignment? And that's where our geometry and engineering and design stuff comes in, right? There's rake and trail here. You got to figure out your rake and your trail and make sure that this is set right so that you don't grab those handlebars and they want to flop on you. Or you don't want to get a high speed and do a wobble. You want these things to be dialed in. So there's so much that goes into a bike that people don't understand, and And a lot of the new builders, they just jump in and think, oh, I'm just going to, swap meet, all this stuff, put it together. Next thing you got a death trap. And it's like, oh, dude,
Looks good on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. Trailer to the next show, and we'll see you roll it off and sit on it. I like to ride my stuff. I rode a 47 knuckle from Lakeville to California for Born Free 3, so I ride them. And there was no chase truck, no trailers. That was me. I had just basically all tools and shit to rebuild the bike in case it broke down. Find a crick and you wash your undies and put them back on. But I had everything to do it. So I like the old stuff. I like to build it so you can ride it. So the battery box today, what we're going to do, what I'm showing my kids is we're going to be building handlebars in class, oil tank, do metal fab, gas tanks, foot controls, pegs, you name it. We'll use bearing bronze and roller bearings. We're going to do all kinds of cool stuff. But for today's activity, I thought, let's just, what's one of the kind of unsung heroes of a bike is the battery box. Usually the battery box is kind of ugly, and it's kind of stupid place, and it's hidden, and nobody sees it. Well, on these stripped-down little choppers, you start seeing the battery if they need one, if it's not a magneto. So I always thought, why can't you make a battery box that kind of looks cool, and just give it a little bit,
Yeah. Give it some love,
Give
man.
a shit like this much on it, So I came up with a design where it can be sold as, when I do them, I could build them and sell them, or I could sell them as an actual do-it-yourself kit for the home builder. So this is actually, you're going to see some videos in a little bit on this, but this is just cut-out steel that I CAD drew up and created a battery box. So the process of this, it goes beyond just all of a sudden magically, boom, we got a battery box, right? What I teach my students is research, engineering, design, okay? There's three things of that: research, engineering, and design, right? So you need to understand, what am I building? What's it going to be for? How's it going to function? And what I see is so many, not to rip on anybody, but I see so many crappy parts being made that fail. They don't hold the test of time, right? We all know that. You get something, you're excited, you put it on, and it breaks. Made in China, or they just didn't know what they were doing. Forgot to turn their shield gas on when they're welding.
Well, it's usually obvious that they didn't realize it was going to be bolted to a rigid frame bike, and it just rattles itself apart.
Absolutely. That's a huge part. For all the new guys that get in a chopper, remember, these things are the Milwaukee vibrator. They do that. And they will test you on every weld, every bolted piece. It's going to come loose. It's going to crack if you don't do it right. You need 3-point mounts on anything you do. If you don't 3-point mount minimum, 4 points even better. But if you don't 3-point mount minimum, you take away that third point, guess what can happen now? It can start moving, and next thing you know, it breaks. You get that third point, triangle, right? You get solid. So think about that when you're doing this stuff. So for a battery box, I thought, we got these ugly batteries, and you just, blah, blah, blah. But when I show my students something, I'm going to say, all right, here we go. We got a design challenge for it. We got this ugly battery we need to mount on a bike somewhere. Obviously, normally it's behind the transmission here down low somewhere in that area, or in the oil tank. On these stripped-down choppers, this is actually a big battery. You wouldn't need this. For this being a kick-only bike, this is like, man, that thing could start a Cadillac.
Yeah, you're going to only use like a 4-cell.
Oh, you don't need none of that. So we can get a tiny.
Yeah.
So if I was going to leave this ignition, I'd have a battery half the width of this, half the height. And we could tuck that sucker in right down below the tranny plate. It would be done. But this is a little bit bigger one, so this is one I'm going to use for the demo. So what we did is we took some measurements. Once we measured this up, we CAD drew up what did we want. So I'm going to use technology with these kids to show them how to use CAD CAM programming, how to use the CNC plasma cutting, and make something that traditionally, you're going to need a big press brake and all this stuff, and you're going to have to be laying out with a scribe and a surface plate and die chem, try to make all your holes right. Now you can draw it up in CAD and make it something that's pretty easy to do. And I can sell these now. This can go like this. Put it in a little, UPS flat rate or USPS, whatever, flat rate packager. Send it to somebody, and they can build it at home, and they got something cool. So the process of this, we're going to show you a video of me with the design of this on the computer screen, and then you're going to see how it cuts out on the CNC plasma. I think.
The CAD design, yeah. He's good back there, man. There we
All right,
go.
so you're seeing now, you look at that CAD and you'll see that's what you're seeing here. I actually drew that up. This is in my classroom at Lakeville North. This is the same setup my students will be using. This machine here at school was bought for me by a local company that wants to hire my students right out of high school. No college education needed. Anything they need to be trained in on, this company will pay for it. They'll pay for their schooling. to help them move up the ladder. Uh-oh. Lost it? There should be a part 2 of that actually cutting.
Oh, yeah, now the plasma table. Yeah, he's got it. Yeah.
There we
Got
go.
it in 2 different files.
So there's the plasma table, cutting these parts out, the actual ones I got on stage here. Now you may see the water. It's not a water jet, it's plasma, but we use a water table, so now we don't need ventilation. All the smoke, all the slag, all the stink, it gets caught in that water. If you look at it, there's no smoke coming up. I have a CNC plasma at my home shop, no water table. It's a dust cloud of just smoke and soot when I'm cutting. This is awesome. This is Shop Saver. These guys are actually located in Lakeville, right down the street from my school.
That's a nice table.
So after that gets done, you're left with your cutouts.
I can see you.
Now what I did with this design, I have a ton of different battery box signs. This one I thought, let's make a base plate. Now this is just for demonstration purposes. This is way too thin. This is 14 gauge steel. I would never use that on an actual battery box that I was going to weld on that bike right now. But I did it just for sake of time and price, and because it's just a demo. But this is only 14 gauge. So be aware, I would normally be minimum 1/8 inch, probably 3/16 thick steel for this. This plate here then could get welded to your frame in between your rails. Okay, that's your base plate for that battery box to sit on. Then you get your battery box, and everybody, even like for this demonstration, they're saying, well, do we need a box and pan brake and all this stuff to bend this thing up? No, you got a pliers at all, a vice grip?
I do.
Give me a pliers. The way I design these, and this is so that the home builder, I know a lot of people can weld, so I don't need to weld this up for people and send it to them that can already weld. A lot of people can weld better than me, so what, So it's a lot cheaper for me to just send this out to a guy who already knows how to weld, but maybe doesn't have the plasma cutter or the designs. He gives me the dimensions of his battery, tells me what his frame rail width is for my base plate to weld on. I cut it out. Once you get it in the mail, you're going to grind it. There's always going to be slag on CNC plasma, any kind of plasma cut stuff. So what you need to do is take your plasma cut piece and just give it a little flap wheel grind. And you don't need much. I'm not trying to teach my students to be grinders. You've all seen that meme of Santa Claus going, oh, I seen your welds, you're getting a grinder for Christmas. I don't want that with my kids. I want them getting welders so they can weld. Safety glasses?
So, yes, they're important.
Safety is always my number one priority in class. Be aware of this. Smoke, soot, sparks, grease, all that stuff can hurt your body in long term. I don't know how many years I got left because I've been working with this stuff forever. So hopefully I've been following my safety.
Yeah, your lungs are full of that stuff. He's probably wearing a...
But anyway, so always have your safety glasses on, please. Always remember, I tell my students 2 rules, right, guys? What's the 2 rules of metal? Sharp and hot, right? Every one of my students knows if they see a piece of metal, you don't just walk up and grab it. You look at it and go, whoa, that's sharp, razor blade sharp, and that's hot, right? So you never grab something that's sharp and hot with your hands. You always grab it with proper equipment to move it around.
Like I burnt myself as soon as I came up here.
Yeah, you totally did. I did.
Welded something, I laid my hand on it, and I was like, that's hot. It wasn't sharp, but it was hot.
Monday, you're coming to my class.
I'll do it. I could use it. Thank you. That'll be great.
So you want to clamp down your work good, make sure it's real nice. I like to use flap wheel grinders, which aren't really like a true grinder. The hard disc grinders just give you bad grind marks and chalk marks and highs and lows. I like using flap wheel. Basically, it's sanding paper. So we're not really grinding. We're sanding. That's all we're doing. All right? And like I said, because of the slag, you want to just take that slag off. So as always, if you don't have a handle, you always want to have 2 hands on this because these things will want to rip out of your hand. Hold on to it tight. Lock it on. And all it is a light pressure. I'm barely pushing down just to take off that slag. Any high spots, impurities of metal that was built up, I'll take off. And you never lay a grinder down on its face. See how it's still spinning? My students know that. You always shut it off, make sure it comes to stop, lay it on its back, just so that, just in case something happens. If this would turn on right now, it's not. If it's here and it turns on, it's going to go zinging across and take your knee out. If it's that way, hopefully you can get out of the way before anything bad happens. So always lay them face up. So I'm not going to do. I already kind of prepped these just for time's sake. So once you get all the slag ground off, now a battery box like this would probably just get powder coated unless you're going to color match it with a frame. You could get it painted. But that's all you really need to do. The painter's going to do the rest of the real fab work on this. So now that we have our cutouts, we got our top piece, our base plate. Customer would tell me how wide, make sure it's going to fit in there so he can weld this plate into your frame. That's step one. Step two is the actual battery box. Now, you have this battery box, all this stuff, like, what do I do with this? What's the deal? Well, I make this, so now all you got to use is the old 1-2, hand bend it up.
Give it up for that. That's clever. No, seriously, give it up. You, there in the pea coat, clap. There, thank you so much. You weren't here at the beginning when I gave those instructions. Professional. Guy came with a whistle. So
now everything's kind of lined up. I bend it up. It's already looking like a battery box, right?
Finished.
Yeah, you could call it done, right? So then we can start welding up all of our seams and whatnot. Now, all my holes are strategically placed, obviously. So I like to use like carriage bolts or Allen head bolts, you name it, something long that I know now when this is welded in a frame, you can take your bolt, run it all the way through. Battery box is going to line up, sit on that same hole, both sides. Oop. So you can see how that's going to hold it in place once it's bolted down. We'll take our battery. We got our battery set in there now. We got our top strap, and obviously I would put some rubber in there and kind of shim this up to give it some vibration dampening. Put your top strap on, and then you got your washers.
Yeah, he found them all.
Lock nuts, whatever you may be, and that way you can now bolt this in. So when you want to change your battery, all you got to do is unbolt these two, pull the top strap off, battery comes out. If you want to remove the whole battery for whatever reason, the battery box, that comes out. But this is always on your frame for good. Okay? Makes sense? So we take this battery box now. We got this thing all kind of pre-bent up and fab. Now we need to weld this thing together. So I'm going to fire up the TIG welder here and do a little TIG welding on this. Do we need to get that in the way?
He's coming. He's ready. Oh, you got to put your helmet on.
Yeah, I got to get set up for that. So give me a few seconds here to change up. With welding, we're using TIG welder here. Make sure you got straight argon shield gas. Using a electric helmet, which means it's auto darkening. So as soon as I strike an arc, it's going to get dark to protect my eyes. You always want it, and I'll probably have a little sunburn tomorrow. You want to wear a welding apron, all the way full jacket. I'm going to get a little bit of sunburn right now. It's winter now. I need some sun anyway. My vitamin D's low.
You don't want to look into this, even if you can see it. We're going to pull this in front because you get flash burn, what he's talking about. You can get it in your eyes, and it doesn't take but an instant for you all of a sudden to be burnt.
Find our filler rod. There we go. So this is something, a little bit of interesting facts for you. As people see the welding rod, okay, this is not braze rod. This is not like silica bronze. This is actually steel rod. Well, why is it copper? People look and go, well, that's not steel, that's copper. It's just copper clad. Copper clad, because everybody should know, is that steel rusts. As soon as it gets any moisture, humidity, it's going to rust. So this copper does not rust. So all your welding wire, spools of MIG welding wire, are all copper clad. The reason why is that gives you your shelf life, so that moisture doesn't get on this and rust it together. If you had a MIG welder there with a huge 80-pound spool of wire on it and no copper clad, you got a humid day, that sucker would weld up tight.
You're an anchor.
Yeah, you got a boat anchor. So all your filler rod for TIG is always going to be copper clad for steel. If it's stainless steel, then no. If it's aluminum, no. But for actual carbon steel, inside there is actually the carbon. It's just a little bit of copper coating on there. Okay, just a little bit of knowledge for people that may not have known why that is. You always want to clean your area really good. The best way to clean metal, never use brake cleaner. If anybody says, I just squirt some brake cleaner, that cleans everything. That is toxic. It's dangerous. If you have brake cleaner on in it, you're going to weld. It's going to give you a little puff of smoke. That's going to shut your kidneys down, send you to the hospital. Okay, never use brake cleaner for that stuff. Use acetone. Acetone, you can wipe it down, clean it. You're going to be safe. But please, we've had good friends. Our buddy Brew Racing did an article on in Cycle Source because he had some brake cleaner on something and there was a little pocket left or he didn't see. He went to weld it, it hit that, it boiled that brake cleaner. He inhaled that puff of smoke and he was in the hospital. He was messed up. It was bad news.
Yeah.
So that's a little safety piece. Just acetone is good. Brake cleaner, keep it on your brakes. Don't use it on welding. Okay? So I got my piece ready. I'm going to kind of retro test fit this here. I might have to have you help hold that in place.
I can do anything.
Normally, like a table like this, we could jig this all up and put some fixtures and have this so it holds everything in place. Right now, there's a little bit of memory in there, so when I push it down, it bounces back. So I'm going to need him to help me hold that down flush just so I can tack the ends, and then we can worry about welding up everything else. But talk about design ideas. You know, for me, usually on a bike like this, the old saying is if it doesn't make it go faster or stop and save your life, take it off. You don't need it. So with a battery box, you know, why have solid steel? Why add more weight? So we do a lot of the speed holes on stuff. Just give it a little bit of lighter profile. It kind of looks cooler. It gives you a little bit of, we've done them with spider webs and you name it, people's companies' names in them. Anything's possible. But for this case, I mean, we do a lot with the speed holes just to lighten it up. All right, we ready to do this?
We're ready.
You got a helmet?
I don't have a helmet. I'll be.
Oh, it's here. Here you go.
Oh, I knew there was one there. There we go.
So what I need you to do, bud, is just kind of hold that in tight, just like that, so that you close that gap for me. We ready?
Yep.
I'm going to burn your fingers off, so be ready.
Okay.
Okay, just one quick little tack. You can let go. Pull that in. There you go. Watch your hands. Get her in nice and tight. There, right. Yeah, right there. Got it. All right, let go. Okay, go ahead and you can pull the curtain back for a second. So all that took was two little nice tacks to hold it in place. Now you can see my battery box. It's pretty straight. It's pretty true. I don't have to do too much for that. It's going to be good to go when I weld it. And like I said, I would put a piece of rubber matting in the bottom. I would have a piece of rubber underneath my top strap just for vibration's sake, because you don't want hard plastic and metal with that vibration rubbing. It's going to wear itself through. So you want to always put rubber dampeners and all that. So I don't know. What do you want me to do as far as, should I weld it up or? All right. Sorry if you guys are all willing to wait for a few seconds here. So let's put that up there. Now, when you're TIG welding this kind of stuff, you got to make sure all that slag is gone, because slag is impurities. That's going to make your welds look like bird turds, I always tell the kids. Or you're going to have porosity, Swiss cheese. Anytime you see that porosity, that Swiss cheese in your welds, it's going to break. Especially on a rigid bike, vibrating like that, it's going to crack the welds. You want good, solid, clean welds. So prep is huge. The biggest challenge that any welder has, especially with TIG welding, that wants to be a good TIG welder, is don't rush. Don't be lazy. Do your groundwork. Do the prep work. Get it clean before you start. Otherwise, you're going to be becoming that grinder that Santa said he's going to give you a grinder instead of a welder. So I'm going to start on one end. Get my heat going. I got to watch my pedal so I don't burn too much in, because this is a thinner steel. If I was using 3/16 or 1/8 inch, I could go a little hotter. But this one here, because it's that 14 gauge, I got to really watch my heat, because if I blow a hole, it's going to start like cancer and just run across. So I'm kind of working my pedal a little bit more, a little less, just watching my puddle. Add my filler rod as I go. And when you add filler rod, you actually cool that weld some. So if you're not hot enough either, that weld's going to make it want to stick. It'll actually stick in your puddle, and then you got to really fight to get that out of there. Stop right there for right now. Now, one thing about welding is heat will warp things. It moves things. It changes the structure of it. So you really, I'm doing this as a demo. That was too much weld right there in one shot. I should have stopped after about 1.5 inches, came up here, did some up here, maybe, and then filled in the middle or went to the other side. I like to show my kids and everybody I work with to dissipate your heat, move it around. Keep the heat flow symmetrical around it so that everything is kind of contracting and expanding and moving. If you just do it on one side, it's going to pull everything and warp it. So do little bits, little chunks at a time. But this is, I was able to get that up. It looks like it's still stuck pretty good, but I would normally not go that much. I'd go about half that, stop, maybe come over here at the top, do that much, jump back over the top, down here, go underneath, and just work my way around. And that's where you got to really be careful, because this whole thing is going to get so hot. You just kind of forget about it. You go grab a cup of coffee and have a drink, and then all of a sudden don't have your gloves on. Oh, man, there you go. You just got a tattoo on your fingers.
And never dip it in water.
Never dip in water. Don't quench your welds like that. You'll become brittle and crack. Let it cool slow and easy. Let it do its thing. So I'm going to jump around a little bit on this. This side I'm going to actually start right in the middle. Run myself a little bead there. And there's also a post flow. When you get done TIG welding, you step off the pedal. You can set these to a specific post flow. Usually it's like 3 to 5 seconds. Keep your torch right over your weld so that post flow can flow and protect your metal while it's cooling. So many people, they pull away too fast. And if you're just getting done with a weld and you pull away fast, that weld hasn't fully cooled. It's going to suck impurities in. You're going to see that Swiss cheese. Same thing goes for your filler rod. I get students that say, why, I just can't get it. What's going on? I watch their technique. They're pulling their filler rod way out here. Well, what are you doing to the end of this filler rod each time? You're melting it, right? It's melting down. You need to keep that in that shield gas zone. You pull out too far, what just happened to the tip of your filler rod?
Sucked in impurities.
Sucked in impurities. It's junk now. Now you're just adding slag and boogers in there. Make sense? Probably all knew that. I'm just a little tip. Keep it in there. All right, so I'm going to jump down to the bottom here, do a little bit. Flip it over. Hit the other side some. Keep dissipating our heat. Go to the bottom. In the bottom, I usually don't weld my bottom solid. Because what happens, if you're a true rider, you're riding in the rain, you're riding everywhere. Water can build up in there and sit in there, right? So my bottoms here, I like to only weld partial to leave that gap to let water run out. So if you run, I like to flat track my knuckles and run them through ponds and mud. Stuff gets in there. Let it have a chance to escape, or it's going to sit in there, it's going to start rusting, and it's going to cause problems down the road. So my bottom, I only do the middle little section just for strength and rigidity, but I leave a lot of gap so that you can have that flow come through. If you're a fair weather rider, then I guess you don't have to worry about that, but you probably wash your bike a lot, so then you got to worry about all that wax and soap getting stuck in there. Stucker. All right, we should be good, huh?
Yeah.
Enough. Without sitting here all day, let them just watch me weld behind a curtain. So, that's the technique I would do, jumping around back and forth, get her all TIG weld, then we can give it a light sandblast, send it to our painter, be good to go. And then when it's all said and done, this is welded on the bike. Battery box goes in, battery in, top plate to hold it down, and you got yourself a custom battery box.
Look at that. Sure it does. Now there it goes.
Makes
all
sense?
right. It's pretty amazing. Now, if somebody wanted to buy one of these battery boxes for you, where can they find that?
My website, bassmetalcraft.com, BAAS, metalcraft.com, or Vintage Bike Addiction. But
so bassmetalcraft.com.
BAAS, Baas, German.
Baas.
So, now you kind of see a day what I do with my students, show them processes like this, and it could be anything, and the life skills are big, and the battery boxes are just a small piece of what I'm doing to show them how to make stuff, how to utilize what you got up here and what you got right here and do something.
I got more hands than I do brains.
Be a problem solver, not a problem asker, right?
Man, I tell you what, Google, we were talking about this earlier, people want to YouTube things, and Chris Callen said, yeah, you're going to want to at least look at 5 YouTube videos and see if 3 of them kind of are similar, because you can go awry getting all of your instruction off YouTube.
That's the other problem, is everybody and their brother now is an expert on YouTube.
Oh, we were on stage last week in New York City. I was with Nick Boyer. I can always forget his last name. And from Forever Two Wheels, Maine. He won the Hot Bike Invitational last year. He won the JMP Cycles Ultimate Builder Championship last year, 10 grand for that, the national championship. He was on stage. We were making a exhaust for 2-in-1 exhaust. Help me out, Kyle. What? A collector. Thank you. I'm losing my mind at the end of the day. A collector. And we were talking about how to do it and the different ways we do it. And a guy got on Facebook Live and called us rookies. And I'm sure that guy's probably got some YouTube. He just left me. I'm sure that guy's probably got some YouTube videos out there that are probably really hurting some people and becoming really painful and not particularly safe. So check it out. But now, do you do any instructions? Speaking of YouTube, do you have any instructional videos out there or anything else? Have you gotten into?
No, I really haven't done anything like that. I'm just so busy with everything. I don't have time for it.
They got enough money.
If you Google my name, you'll see videos from like my Born Free builder bikes and stuff, and all kinds of stuff will pop up. But I don't have any like what I just did right now. Maybe someday, it'd be kind of nice to have a film crew in. Maybe another part of the class, I don't know if we have a...
They got an AV class.
Yeah,
they could come in.
They could come in and film it.
You'd have to get your shop kids to promise not to beat them up, though.
Yeah, right.
I remember those days. I was in AV club. No, I wasn't, actually.
But for this small piece, I hope you see, what I'm doing as a shop teacher, and I hope you understand my vision. I'm trying to keep shop class alive, bring shop classes back, stop this whole world from thinking everybody's going to a four-year college to be a doctor and a lawyer. It's great. We need them, but we need guys that can do this, and we need guys that can use their hands and get dirty,
If you're out there watching Facebook Live, and I don't care how old you are, and if you're sitting here, I'll tell you what, Nate has taken this advice. He's a musician, professional musician, and he's in welding school right now. I tell everybody, learn how to weld. The whole world comes apart. You're going to need to know how to weld. During the apocalypse, welders are going to be important. If you can't find a job doing anything else, you can always find a job welding.
Dave right here, homeless.
Yep.
$5 million a year now.
Learn how to weld, man. I tell you what, just go for it. Learn how to weld. Learn how to do something. I am tired of running into people that don't know how to do a damn thing.
And talk to your communities, man. Look at your high schools. Wherever you live, wherever it may be, check in. What do they have for shop class there? Offer to help. Give them my name. If your instructor there needs some help, they're struggling, I'll share my curriculum. I'll share what I know. I'll share connections to help keep it going. Because I love it, what I'm doing, but I'm not greedy. I want to see shop class thrive everywhere.
Well, and if you are out there, it's amazing to me, to that point, I'm glad you brought that up. Des Moines Area Community College down there, I'm out of Des Moines, Iowa now, and they were trying to figure out, they had all these people that kept coming saying, well, what kind of classes do you have for automobile, for hot rod, chassis, anything like that? They couldn't take time out and go to WyoTech. They couldn't do that. And so a buddy of mine was telling me this, and I said, well, let's sit down and just make him a curriculum and give that to him. And so we came up with an entire curriculum for Des Moines Area Community College. And now my buddy actually is going to be the main instructor there.
That's awesome.
And, he's 60 years old. He's got all this hot rod experience. And, but the offer, you never know. I mean, schools out there are hungry for people to come in and help actually teach skills that are craftsman skills, because there aren't many people out there that know how to do it.
Right, right.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin, thank you so much, not only for what you did here, but for what you're doing for the kids.
We're going to be turning over to the main man again here, the master.
Actually, I want to go back to the part that he said that as long as you can weld, you always have a job, because as long as you're set up for welding, we're going to ask you to jump in on our war pony, right? Hey, listen, I got a couple bucks. I'm saying, let's keep it honest.
Let's get this thing done. I want to be doing a wheelie by the end of the day here.
But we got what we did teach is the old trick with an FL8 front fender, and we're spinning it around backwards. And we found out we needed to make a dimple back here for our battery box so we could relieve that and get it in a little bit tighter. So what we're going to do is clean this up and hopefully get you to weld these stitches for us. Let's make a little play here.
Get that paint out of there. We'll be good.
So stick around for a second. We're going to set up for this and get the area cleaned up, and then Teach is going to go to town with that welder again and make something cool.
Hey, Jackie, why don't you tell us how we can get coffee?
While you're over here enjoying this awesome presentation from Grease and Gears, that was incredible. Put your hands together one more time. Kevin Teach Baas up there. That was absolutely incredible. I I was absolutely riveted. I loved it. While you're over here enjoying the Grease and Gears presentations, which these guys will be here for a little while longer tonight, they'll be here all day long tomorrow as well, doing these incredible builder interviews and demonstrations. Make sure you take advantage of the awesome free services going on over here at the Progressive Parlor. We've still got Flo's Chop Shop up and running in the back, hooking you up with free barbershop services for the guys, free beard trim, free neckline cleanup going on back there. Our in-house mechanic, Daniel, is back there as well. If you got any questions about how to maintain your bike, feel free to go on back there and talk to Mr. Daniel. We're still signing folks up right now and giving away free tattoos. Airbrush tattoos, that is, from our friends at Ink Tattoo Magazine over here. And when you get signed up for any of these awesome services, I got some free shop rags and swag and free goodies for you waiting over there as well. Last but certainly not least, if you are a Progressive policy holder, welcome back and thank you for being members of our Progressive Motorcycle family. Make sure you head over to the Coffee Grinder station because I've got your VIP gift as a thank you for being members of our Progressive family. So thank you so much for coming on over, folks. We've had a super rock and roll day. We're open another 2 more hours, though, so come on over. Take advantage. We still got plenty of free fun stuff going on over here and more incredible demonstrations here on that main stage with the folks from Grease and Gears Garage.
But I researched them all, and I'm happy. It's solid. It's bulletproof. The way they build the whole gantry.
Dana, do you want to come up here and watch any of this? Come up.
Plans?
I was down.
Thermodynamics.
I was down there talking to Dana Menifee from Suicide Choppers, Sioux City. We got microphones galore. I'm going to have you have this one, man. Come on over here and watch what we're doing. Chris, make sure you're sharp and on point. Dana Menifee's in the house. Stand up straight. Dana's going to be with us tomorrow. Dana, tell the fine people what you're going to be doing tomorrow.
Tomorrow we're going to demonstrate how to do like measurements on front ends to figure out front end lengths and then figure out how your bike will handle with the certain front end lengths as far as the rake and trail setups and basically just handling performance and mostly measurements, you know, difference between the hydraulic measurements, Springer measurements, rake trail, all that.
So basically, you're going to want to be here because he's going to be doing math. We're going to watch Dana do math on stage tomorrow. It's going to be really exciting.
It'll be painful.
It'll be painful.
No, there's pretty much one
math?
one method that we use. One math.
One math.
So listen, honestly, Dana's a friend of mine for a long time now, and the first 2 shows that we did out of the gate, Long Beach and New York, we had so many people asking us questions that pertain to rake and trail. You know, Dana's specialty, he'll be modest up here, but his specialty is front end construction, frame construction, and figuring out the geometry that's involved in a proper riding and handling motorcycle. So I asked him to come down here specifically for this. So not only can we answer it for you guys, but everybody that's fielding those questions from Facebook. How do you measure rake and trail? How do you get that? We've told people time and time again, go to Twisted Choppers. They have a nice diagram, a whole course on how to do it. But you guys are going to get to watch Dana do this live tomorrow and really learn like firsthand. If you have a question, he'll be able to answer it right there on the spot.
And if Dana were smart, he'd go ahead on his website and put that same kind of stuff up there. We could toss it to you, Dana.
Yeah, I had a diagram on there. I just redid my website. It's going to be back on there. Some of what I will show you tomorrow, I'm going to have a diagram back on there.
All right.
And figure out most of the front ends that I do right now, or I've just been communicating with the people on the phone, getting the measurements, you know, trying to help them through that.
That's got to be brutal at times.
It is brutal, but, you know, if you send the wrong front end to somebody and
that's more brutal.
Yeah, they're like, well, you help me figure this out. And
yeah, you take the time up front.
Right.
Get it right the first time. Hey, did you guys scare Kevin off? He said, I'm not welding that. He said he wasn't going to do it. Hey, where's your wife at? What'd she ditch? What's she doing?
She's swimming at the hotel with my daughter.
Is it an indoor pool?
I think it's outdoor. It might be a little cold.
Wow. Well, you guys are from Sioux City, Iowa. You're tough, man. You don't care. It's not snowing. She's swimming. That's cool. Dana and I are real good friends, too, and I was traveling through that neck of the woods. It was late, and I called him up and said, hey, man, I need a place to stay. I thought he'd invite me over to his house, and he said, yeah, I got a room above my shop. And I was like, that's cool, man. I'll just stay. I stayed in the city park.
I guess what I forgot to mention is my house is right next to my shop.
No. I actually.
And my shop's nicer than my house.
Yeah, I don't even know what happened. That I ended up staying in Vermilion,
Right.
South Dakota,
Yeah.
and in the city park. I camped there. It was really weird, but it's legal. It was legal. They invite you to do it, so it was legal.
Right.
But I got there late, and man, that was brutal. That was the first night my wife had ever camped. And it rained.
Uh-oh.
And I didn't put the tarp over my tent, so it rained on us. It was sad. But anyway, that neck of the woods. I've been trying to get over to see you so that I can get one of your front ends. I need to do that. We've been talking about that since Sturgis. So
right.
he's also got a killer front end he'll show you tomorrow. It's on a Sportster over here. Tell me a little bit about how that came to be and how, what that front end actually is.
Our front end design came from people walking through the door at my shop wanting a Springer front end on their Sportsters, Dynas, all the other bikes. Mainly the Sportsters and the Dynas was the big one that, to put a cheaper front end, Springer front end is what I meant to say, is the Springer front end that they wanted to put on. Most of the time, they already did the handlebars, which almost all your Springer front ends are 4 3/4 inch center to center for your handlebars. So basically, that's all. You have to redo the handlebars. And there's a lot of other issues that you have to obtain depending on the bike. So one night we just sat down and we got close. We're building a Springer, and we're cutting our own triple trees. And we basically made a set of triple trees just like the stock Harley ones. And we're sitting back going, well, Harley Davidson already did this process for us, and they have a little bit more technology than my shop does. So they did a really good job on it, and it works on that bike. So we decided to build a Springer that fit into their triple trees. And fairly easy process, and a lot of the builders that I know look at it and they're kind of dumbfounded about not coming up with it first. And I'm kind of dumbfounded that we didn't do it 5 years earlier.
Yeah, Dana was telling me that story, and it's a slip-on Springer. You take it and it slips right up into your stock triple trees on your Sportster. And you Googled it. You were like, there's no way somebody else isn't already doing this.
Yeah, for 4 or 5 days, I did and one other guy, we sat there and we're like, somebody did this before. Let's try to find it. We couldn't. And still.
Oh, there it is right there. So that's the front end, a slip-on Springer, they call it. So those are the stock triple trees on a Sportster. And that Springer just slips right up on there. Nate, you got a Springer. That's slick, isn't it?
I was just going to say, oh, really?
Yeah. Is that not the slickest thing you've ever seen? Now, and if you're a custom builder, if you decide you want to take it to the next level, you can take those stock triple trees in and machine them and do some groovy stuff to them or whatever. But, you're set up. For a guy, how long do you say it takes for a guy to be able to basically put that on in your garage?
It's a good afternoon project. In our shop, we've done a lot of them. We can slip one on in an hour or two, basically. If you've never done one, I've had people that we've sold this product to, and when they got it, delivered, UPS or mail, whatever, they called me and they say, hey, we're putting this on. And during the course of the day, I say, yeah, you have any problems, give me a shout and I'll help you out. And, you know, a couple phone calls, I'm like, well, you know, all you got to do is this. 3 or 4 hours, they could have one on in their garage. And then after they get it on, they're like, wow, that's easy.
Yeah, honestly, you know, it's the kind of thing where if you get up on a Saturday morning, Sunday morning, you're off work, you've decided you're going to do it, you got everything laid out, you just go at it in a day, easy, kind of, you know, have a buddy come over or whatever in case you can hold stuff, have them hold stuff. In a day, easy, I mean, a really easy day, transform the whole look of your bike. It's really slick.
And it makes it so you don't have to move the handlebars at all. You don't have to move the gas tank. You don't have to worry about steering stops. Harley Davidson already did all that for you.
What's that?
On the speedometer that's flipped forward, the stock riser is a 1.7 inch riser, and that's a 3-inch riser. So you have to move that up, but the stock wiring and cables all work with that riser. That is one hidden thing about it. Otherwise, on the Speedo, it does the spring. You have to make the room for the springs. Like on the Sportster Custom, where the speedometer's back, of course, you don't have to do anything. And then,
see, I never think of that because I don't have speedometers or turn signals or I used to put keys on them so that I could start. I don't even put keys, and that's just a switch and a button. I just take everything off of them.
Right. Yeah. And then since we came up with that, we've done a lot of business with the Sportsters, Dynas, Softails. We made a stock brake bracket. So on most of your Sportsters, I would say all of them except the dual brake setup, the caliper's on the left. So on the Springer, what you do is you can take your stock caliper, flip it to the right side, and you can use the stock caliper with our brackets, and then we supply the wheel spacers to go in the stock wheel, which makes it easier on that too. So
because otherwise, if you go buy a Springer, you've got to then buy, typically you're into new brakes and new bracketry and all that stuff. So
correct, yeah. And some of the Springers come with like a box full of spacers that never work, you know.
They were just extra cutoff pieces. Yeah.
But
so Dana's going to be with us tomorrow. What time, Dana, do we have you tomorrow?
11 o'clock tomorrow.
11 o'clock tomorrow morning. So you'll want to come back, and he'll teach you everything you ever wanted to know about front end geometry and how to dial it in and get it right. So you've been seeing it all, this War Pony that we're building. What do you think of this Paco frame project that we got going?
It'll be a nice bike there.
Yeah, man. You know, we're 3 shows in. We got 4 shows left. That thing's supposed to run and ride off stage the next 4 shows. So, we're not taking any bets. Somebody's taking bets out there. Somebody's taking bets, but we're not covering any, I can guarantee you. So we'll get it done. We're going to, Chris and Mark are actually going to, I'm not. Chris and Mark actually, over our 6-week break, are going to be working on that a little bit, tightening some stuff up so that it's a super solid, ready-to-go roller. Yeah, but it will be Facebook Live. So if you're here or if you're on Facebook Live and just checking into the Minneapolis show, War Pony is a bike that we started to build in Long Beach. We're building it a little by little every show, and by the time we get to Washington, D.C., that thing will be going. And we're not cheating a bunch. I mean, it's just some of the fab stuff that would just take too long on stage segments that we're going to do over this next 6 weeks. But so that thing's going to get going. And should we have the screen? Yeah, probably. I mean, don't want. I love doing this. This is sexy, isn't it? It is just kind of. It's like a rock. All right, do it. Man, I tell you, you and I'd knock that thing out in an hour, man. Isn't that a killer? That's a great part. You know, it's that front end. I've mentioned it time and time again because on the War Pony you were using a GSXR front end that we had to redo the steering stem. And on Facebook Live, when you go back and look at the earlier ones, you can see everything we went through to use that front end on that bike. But our good friend George at Chaos Cycle has triple trees that will allow you to put any 50 millimeter front end on virtually any Harley. And so you just buy his kit. He's got the spacers and everything, and it's just real straightforward. Bang, you can just knock it out, and it's super nice. But this front end, so many cool stuff out there. Now this front end actually is JMP Cycles, who is obviously the sponsor of the JMP Cycles Ultimate Builder Custom Bike Show and the world's largest distributor of aftermarket motorcycle parts, actually carries this front end now in their catalog, and you can buy that from JMP for right at about $1,100.
So $1,150 for the
$1,150.
Yep.
I keep selling them too cheap.
Well, if you're a gold member, you can probably be right at
Gold
$11.
member for JMP, you could probably get it for less than that. So, but man, I tell you what, I was amazed. The first time I saw it installed was at Sturgis this year. We were doing Grease and Gears Garage. He installed one of those, man. It just went together so easy. We were having to our segment, you know, because it was just too easy. You did it too quick, so it was really nice. Now, they got Kevin back here welding now. That's why we got the screen up. You can't see it on those screens because we did figure out after the first show that if the camera looks at the weld while you're welding, it will also burn the camera, burn the eye of the camera. So, which, who knew? We didn't. Blue Water's boss came and told him it would, though, the production guys. What's that?
I've cut out a little
mustache? No.
piece here for that where we made that.
Okay.
So where we made that dimple for our battery box to sit into the fender, I've cut out a little template here, and I'm going to go ahead and start bringing this down so when Kevin's done with those stitches, we're going to bring this up from the underside, and he'll seal it all up.
Right on, man. So what we're doing here right now is I'll move this out of the way so that you guys can see. Hey, Mark, can you hold that fender up so they can see what we've just done there? What we're doing with War Pony is we've got an FL front fender off whatever touring bike, Harley Davidson, and it's an old trick that I know Chris, Mark, and I have used forever. Lots of people have, but we've done it before. You take an FL front fender. We've cut this one short now that looks like that, and then you just turn it around and you use it. This will be the rear fender on War Pony, and it'll give us a nice line there. And so now they've had the clearance for the battery box on here, and so right now they've made some cuts, relieved the metal a little bit, pushed it back in, and now they're going to just fill that in, and when that goes on, then that'll be nice and clean and straight. And they've managed to hooskow Kevin Baas into welding for him.
Hey, good thing for JB Weld.
I know. I love JB
Welding
Weld.
school, he knows. Shit.
I was so embarrassed. I hope my son Andrew's watching this. I had him fix up a bracket on my Royal Enfield that's in the show, and he wanted just to smooth it, you know, because he didn't have a lot of time. The bracket wasn't the way I wanted him to do it anyway, but he took JB Weld and smoothed it down over there.
I saw the commercial, like a dude puts a hard hat and he's hanging from like 10,000 feet.
Not me.
Or that's super glue or crazy glue.
That's crazy glue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, the JB Weld, nobody's going to put their life on the line with it. I actually did.
You guys have silica bronze at all? You can show a little silica bronze.
I don't think we have any here, but yeah, he loves Chris.
Silica bronze is nice because you can join dissimilar metals. It melts at a way lower heat rate, so you can just barely get her in there, get her to flow, and hold stuff on. It's good for, like, if I wanted to put like a 1/8-inch bar stock, little nice beater on here, a little rib. Silica bronze it on. You're not getting so much heat and warpage, you know.
Well, and Chris is what? He's a big fan. He goes over all all the welds anyway after he smooths
silica
the
bronze is like one step up from a grinder. So.
Oh.
But you know, I didn't want to bring up this teach. Never mind. I won't. I'll say this: out in the real world, you do what you can.
Yeah, I mean, not all of us are on the government tit. I don't know what to say. Oh!
Yeah, I'm making millions, so I'm rich.
Public school.
See my
You're
rusty
making
old
millions.
Saturn out there?
I know what your return. No,
I got a great welder, but a shitty car. I mean, crappy car. Sorry.
Good, thank you so much. It's not as bad as Matt. He used to lead
You put the
solder.
cigar in your mouth with a torch.
Yeah, I had an old guy teach me how to do lead work when I was growing up. And, well, my dad showed up at the shop and nearly had a stroke. He was screaming, "It's going to kill him! It's going to kill him!"
I only got 1 year left. I got to protect it.
You're deaf in one ear. Mark's blind in one eye.
I'm deaf in one ear, dumb in the other. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We're going to call us grease and guts in a minute.
I know. Sparks are cool, though. Sparks are cool. That Warren Lane's brother says it all the time.
Chicks dig scars. Sorry, Mom.
You know what I love most about Mark? No matter how crazy it gets, he's like on the part, man. He's like, go ahead.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
he
with you.
didn't jump. He didn't flinch. You guys almost. It's a pretty.
Yeah, I can make her work. My dad was a TV repairman. I can fix it.
So now, are you going to just weld this? Because just a little bit TIG, you're going to just weld this bottom in, and then you're going to push that back out? Was it that gap? All right.
Always clean off even your copper clad. I just like to use my shirt. So you'll see that. You get a little bit of that crap. There's always something on it. Acetone's the best, but T-shirt.
Tungsten inert gas welding wants everything to be really clean. With MIG welding, you can have it be dirty. I mean, MIG welding is a great all-around just kind of welding technique in any environment. But TIG really wants things to be super clean, no impurities. It's just otherwise you're just not going to get a good weld.
Because I love you, Chris.
Do not pay attention to the man behind the red curtain. What do you want? It's there. Where do you want it? Oh, now Chris is the fire marshal because Leah's here. You saw Lee out of the corner of your eye, and then he's like, everybody be good. That's right. For those of you who don't know, this is Leah. She's from the show office. She has a delicious pretzel right now. She got a break. She snuck out. Yeah, but not with you. That was it. I mean, that's the way it works, buddy. That's the way it works. Leah, you must be working hard this weekend. I have not seen you.
Give me a hammer. Let me
not
go
one
tap,
time.
tap, tap.
Just running, huh? Woof. You guys have, I understand. You must be because
Fit
Leosa's
up
not
is
here
key.
this week either.
The tighter you can
That's-
make your gaps and joints and your fit up, the better your weld.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to say about TIG welding.
Proper prior planning prevents poor performance.
There you go. You can, MIG welding, you can fill a gap. TIG welding, you're not going to fill a gap.
You can still fill
Oh,
it.
yeah.
It takes a little more.
But, which is good because you still want, whenever you're fabricating stuff, you still want everything to be really close and tight anyway. You don't want to be filling a gap with weld, really. I mean, you want everything to be nice and tight. That's what they say. I'm a terrible welder, but that's what they say. Yeah.
This kind of metal, you really got to worry
Tools
about burning
cannot
your
save
big
you.
holes through. She gets hot. That's where dissipating your heat's always a good thing. So I'm going to stop on this side now. Oh, I just touched the tungsten. Now I got to sharpen it. But I'm going to go over to the other side now to dissipate. And the minute you touch that tungsten with a little bit of filler rod gets stuck on there, you got to sharpen that baby back up and clean it. But I'm going to Play with it a little bit. I don't want to tap out quite yet. I'm a fighter. As long as I don't see porosity, I can work with a little bit wider bead. So what happens when you touch it too is that you
can't stop looking at it.
Your bead don't get so nice and refined right into your weld joint. It kind of sprays out. And you can still weld, but you got to be a little more on top of your game. If I wasn't pressed for time here, I'd be sharpening, but I'm going to just keep going. I don't see any porosity or the Swiss cheese, so we're okay.
You've got in this torch, you've got about an 8-inch long piece of tungsten steel. And there's different types of tungsten that you can get, depending on.
Yeah, thoriated and whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Aluminum steels.
Yeah, and they're you get 10 to a pack. The pack's about $80. I mean, Kevin wouldn't know that because school buys them for him, but they're about $80 a pack now, Kevin. So, but now they're expensive. But every time you also have to sharpen.
I got an unlimited credit card from Cyclosaurus after doing today's deal. What I heard, so I'm gonna start buying lots of stuff for the kids. So all for the kids,
you go.
Chris.
Chris will give it to you if it's for the kids.
Now, Chris has been behind me and the kids for years, man, and I love him like a brother. And he's seen what I've been doing blossom and grow, and he's helped me make it grow. And he's seen me as a father and a husband, transform. And I used to ride my knuckle everywhere. Like I rode to the first 3 BMRs, man. I was the longest rider. Get in there on a 1947 knucklehead, 3 years straight.
Right on.
No chase trucks, no trailers, just me and my knuckle and a couple buddies and a backpack, and BMR was awesome. I love it, and I miss the camaraderie, but, man, my kids and my family now, I don't get out much, so it's like being able to see Chris here at this show and have him come by and see my new school and just catch up, man. It's like a brotherhood. It's awesome, and
it is a nice thing. I know that, we have builders up on this stage and on all over the country at rallies with Grease and Gears Garage. And one of the things we all have in common is it doesn't matter what you're doing. I mean, life gets in the way. It's hard to ride. So that's the thing I do enjoy about this part of the motorcycle industry, being able to be part of it. I know Chris does. We get to see people. That's the only way we do it because we never get to ride anymore. Look at that. Check out this man's handiwork.
Wow.
Look at that.
Considering the prep work wasn't that.
That is going to make this bike probably.
Just kidding. I always get that's my go-to. I always say it to him. He does a good job. Chris is awesome.
For what he is, he does a fine job.
He does a great job.
So.
And I'm not an awesome welder. Like I tell my students, you're always learning. Like I'm learning every day. I'm practicing. I'm not. You could probably beat me. You know some stuff you teach me, but if you understand that you're not Mr. All-Knowing and the best, and you embrace that and realize that I want to get better. I mean, I want to get better. I want to learn. I do. I don't think I know it all. I know I don't know it all. I'm crappy at it, but I get by, and I want to get better each time. And that's if your students can see that too, learn from your mistakes. Like my first-time welders, those kids, man, sometimes they forget to turn the shield gas on or whatever it is, and they're like embarrassed to come show. I said, no, man, embrace that. That's awesome. You did a great job.
You'll never.
Now let's look at why. Okay, so let's make it better this time.
Right.
Do it again. I'm never negative on them. It's always positive.
I told Nate, I'm not a member of a union, of course, with an independent shop, but there's some schools around the country, and one of them's in Des Moines, where they have basically master classes for private companies can send their employees. And I go there. They do a welding class for a week. It's 40 hours. You can go there and so I'll go in the little cubicle and I'll weld for 40 hours during the week, and the instructor comes. And I always learn something new, and I get better because now I'm just taking the time to have somebody come and look over my shoulder and watch me. So
I'm going to sharpen my tungsten quick while we got this little break. Chris, you should tell them that story, like how BMR got started and what the history is in that. Because, man, like I said, I rode a knuckle there 3 years in a row. You remember, we got it on tape. I come in with my GoPro, and it's such a neat little. It's different. It's just different than other things I've been at. And I think he's too modest to plug it. I'm going to put you on the spot and make you talk about it. Because I'll tell you what, my best times in my life were the Lipnicki lot and the BMR.
So BMR is a thing that we started, a bunch of us friends really. It was called Big Mountain Run. And the idea behind it was there was no place. This was when the, Generation X was really coming in strong, and we were building our own kind of bikes and doing our own kind of events. And there really wasn't a place to hang out. So we figured we would throw our own event, and if no one else came to it but us, we'd get together for a weekend, have a good time. And we ended up doing a 3-day Gypsy Tour where we stopped from place to place, and all of us just camped out together and rode, a couple few hundred miles every day. And then we ended up at a place, beautiful, beautiful place right on the Hiwassee River in Tennessee, and literally in the Smoky Mountains, and it was just choppers and blue-collar guys having a good time. And we did it for years and years and years. Eventually moved it a couple years back to West Virginia, another set of mountains. And then we got the idea that that's probably going to be this thing's history. Is it's never going to be a great big event. I mean, there's a few thousand people that come out. It's a good event. But every 3 or 4 years, we're just going to move it to a different mountain. So Big Mountain Run will always be just Big Mountain Run,
You'll do it in Des Moines, Iowa next year.
Probably not, unless we can get close to Gander Mountain.
I will start building a mountain. I will at least have a hill.
I got a hill, Bass Acres.
You guys have Gander Mountain, right? Isn't that?
Yeah, we got Gander. No, they're all out of business now.
Hey, did you guys talk about grinding tungsten at all?
No, we didn't.
One thing about TIG welding, when you grind your tungsten, okay, you want your grind marks to go vertical with the rod. So you never want to grind sideways like this because you're going to create rings, and that takes your arc and throws it into a big circle there. You want to grind with, and you should have a dedicated tungsten grinder.
I was going to say the grinders right there. I was going to say.
Well, you didn't tell me this stuff.
Well, I was going to, and then Chris started talking about.
So when you grind steel, and you never grind aluminum on a grinding disc like that because it'll clog the pores. But when you grind steel and other materials on here, and then you grind your tungsten, you're putting impurities in that tungsten when you grind it. You are. You want a dedicated tungsten-only grinder, right? And you always want to grind with the grain's got to go with your rod, never around it. And what that does, your lines of grind go this way. It focuses your energy rather than doing a big, UFO. It'll focus.
The energy out of your torch. You're sending electricity down the end of that, and you want it to be just very focused and pointed.
Yeah.
So
I'm good now. You're right. So we're good. All right. So
we should have brought Nate up here. Now, Lee, Nate,
yeah, come on up. Add some stuff. Help.
His mother owns the School of Rock.
I just can't stop looking at those pretty ladies.
They were here for 5 years in a row.
Girls. What's up, girls?
They were here for 5
Need a
years
beer?
in a row. Nate is the instructor at the School of Rock. And so, but Nate now is doing welding school. He's bought a motorcycle, and he's building another one, and he's just all about doing that now. So, but yeah, so he's an old school IMS veteran, man. Yeah, man. No, not as veteran. Leah's been doing this for 28 years. I know, I wasn't going to say. But in her defense, it was before child labor laws were real hard, so they hired her at 13, and she just stayed with it. So they hired you at 13, right? And so, exactly. So now, so you've been doing this for 28 years, and the show is now 38 years old, correct? 37, okay. I missed a year, and so I didn't know if it had gotten 2 years older while I was gone. Do you want Nate to come up and weld that?
Want to come up and do some welding? That a
Yeah,
boy.
look at that. Pull him out of the
Let's-
studio audience.
I can go get me a beer then. Put the girls in.
Now, see, Nate was very impressed with us all afternoon until you called him up for this, and he's going to be
he's
like,
gonna do it.
wow.
Well, you can choose. We got them all. Whatever you prefer. Yeah, you want the 16? You want?
I just always prefer to have somebody weld it.
That's 1/8 inch, sure, isn't it?
My son is
Yeah,
an
that's-
excellent MIG welder. He can make MIG welds look like TIG weld. I mean, he's an excellent MIG welder. And then he decided he was good. He's, well, how hard could TIG welding be? So he got on that thing one day and he was blown. He said, this is really hard. So,
Gee.
Gene,
Kyle. Gee.
he needs coffee.
My coffee is empty.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
so far.
So Nate's nervous, so nobody look at him for a minute.
Look at
There we
this.
go.
He's got
Yeah.
skills, man.
That's good. Keep that torch.
But you look good. You're getting ready to...
You know, truly, this is in the spirit of Grease and Gears Garage, though. We say this all the time, that this atmosphere, these are basically tools that we brought from our garage. And this atmosphere is what our garage is like. Guys stop by. Hey, you want to try this? Look at this new tool I got. Jump in here and do something.
So if you guys are out there on Facebook Live right now and you're coming to one of the Progressive International Motorcycle shows, you know you're come to the stage. And if there's something that you want to give a whirl that we got going on stage, man, you come down.
One of my favorite ones, one of my boys from back home, Steve from Steel City Choppers, at the Cleveland show, he's going to come up. And we've had a couple guys already show you how to make exhaust pipes. One of everybody's favorite tricks now is this custom stainless exhaust pipes, right? Well, Steve from Steel City Choppers is going to take it way back old school. He's going to build a set of stainless custom exhaust pipes using thrown-away pool steps. The ladder that goes in a swimming pool. Hey, because listen, let's face it, it's good, cheap stainless. There's already bends worked into it, so he grabs them things up, man, and makes some of the baddest pipes.
Good.
So.
I never thought about that. Had you thought about that before?
No. When I saw, I went to his shop one time, and there was a pile of pool ladders there, and I'm like, I said, are you scrapping? I said, things tough around the shop, baby? What's going on? He said, no. He said, look, dude. He said, my custom pipes. He said, I make stainless pipes out of that stuff, and I was like. I immediately felt more stupid because I had been going to the steel yard and buying lengths of stainless tubing.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I thought I was smart for buying the scrap and welding it together. He didn't like the way the tungsten was sharpened.
Hey, Teach, this kid's showing you up.
He really
That's a killer weld.
That is a really good weld.
Where'd Kevin Baas go?
He went to get.
I don't even have to put silica bronze on top of this weld.
Hey, Kevin. Teach.
Oh, that's awesome.
Kyle. They can't hear me.
Well, let me get a picture of you while you're working.
He said he's not even going to have to silica bronze this guy's welds.
There he is. Look at that. They're pretty. Yeah, that's nice. Good job.
And I know Nate, he probably usually does this in a pair of Speedos, listening to some groovy 80s tunes.
Oh, man, 70s, come on.
70s, with his roller skates on. Did it push back again? I don't know how it's happening. Somehow I keep pushing my microphone back into my head. I don't know what it is. So if you're just joining us on Facebook Live, or if you're wondering what we're doing, we are Grease and Gears Garage. And basically we're just a bunch of dirty mechanics at the Progressive International Motorcycle Show. It's given us the opportunity to bring our tools in, invite our friends in, and then invite all of you in, whether you're here at the show or right here on Facebook Live with us. Just come into the garage and see what we do, at least a part of what we do as we're doing custom motorcycle work. We've narrowed tanks. We've built fenders. We've built tanks from scratch. We're building an entire motorcycle from the ground up over the 7-show series. So you can keep up with us by going to JMP Cycles. Their webpage is carrying it. Motorcycleshows.com has the Facebook Live feed, and you can go back there and look at that. And you can also go to Cycle Source Magazine, their social media. So Progressive International Motorcycle Shows has it. JMP Cycles, Cycle Source Magazine. Go find it. Chris, are you teaching him how to weld, Chris?
I can't teach him anything.
That he's good, huh?
Listen,
I knew he would be.
He's better than me and Teach.
He's a good. I knew he's.
Teach is way better than
School
me.
tomorrow.
He's coming to school tomorrow. Teach has already fielding new talent.
That guy is an amazing
like
musician,
I said, I'm
too.
always
It's kind of
learning.
disgusting.
I'm always learning. I don't know it all. I'm just, life's
That's
a
it.
journey, man.
That's the attitude you got to keep. You always got to be ready to pick something up from anybody.
You got to evolve and learn more, or you become obsolete.
I put it out on social media the other day. If you're not learning, you're either dead or dumb. I mean, you got to just keep learning, man. It's
Pat Jansen, he's a good talker.
I make mouth sounds good.
I mean, this guy may be out-welding me, but I'd like to see him take a set of 1948 George Smith dual-carb heads and bring them back to life for a Born Free Bite that won Best Band Head.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So keep on welding, buddy.
Don't quit your day job.
It is exciting, though, to see a guy his age with all of his talent and music and everything saying, hey, I want to learn how to weld. I mean, that's just...
How old are you, man? 27.
27 years old, right on.
Embrace that. Embrace that.
Man, he was young when I met him. He had such a baby face. I don't think he could even. The whiskers weren't his friend then. He had this clean face.
Huh? Yeah.
Look at that.
Attaboy.
One more hit and then he's good.
Oh, it looks really, really good.
That does look good.
And it's crazy to think. I mean, this is the point that we keep making up here is all it takes is a little determination. Like we got up here today and just started cutting pieces in this fender and said, hey, we need this thing to move back further, and it's got a clearance to battery box. I mean, there might be some guys that do it different, and there might be a better way to get there, but this is all it takes is wanting to do something, figure it out.
Nice looking cycle source sign.
Well, and it's metal, so if you mess it up, you can weld it, cut it, grind it, reshape it. I don't know. I tell people all the time, my wife seems to think because I can weld and cut and grind that I'm a carpenter, too.
Well, that's what's great about metals. You guys beat it into submission.
Yeah.
It's gonna do what you say it's going to
do. She wanted bookshelves at the house. I went to the steel yard. She's got steel bookshelves now. I was like, they're staying if we ever move, though, because the suckers are heavy. But,
Coffee?
Is the coffee shop still open on the other side? I'm down. Coffee's good.
Coffee's good. Shh, Tracy's here. Everybody be good.
No, we don't. What do you got going on? Excess.
Might be time for a new cullet, huh?
I'm trying to get a wider tire in the back of it instead of, I found how thick it was from out there.
Yeah. Okay.
What's our time, Chris? I mean, I know we're the last.
We're actually over now, so.
All right. Well, I was just going to maybe.
As he finishes out, weld up, we're out.
All right.
I just can't stop something this perfect because.
Well, it's this has been a good Grease and Gears Garage Day. Man, I tell you, this has
on
been
the
a
War
good
Pony.
day, man.
Learned a couple things. Got to hang out with some old friends we don't always see.
I tell you, one of the slickest things I've seen is his battery box. Just boop, boop, boop.
Right.
I hadn't seen that. I like it.
My memories, man, is just it's awesome to ride an old motorcycle cross country when people say you can't do it. Show up at the party, like that one year I showed up at 1 in the morning. I pull into the big mountain run 1 in the morning. It had been raining on me all weekend. My headlights shorted out. I'm on this old 1947 big old sissy bar, tall chopper, kick back, man.
And listen, imagine this was before social media. You know what I mean? So the only people that knew he was doing this were the bunch of us that were throwing this party.
I went swimming in a mud puddle that night. I won the arm wrestling contest. Undisputed champ.
All right, how did he do?
He killed it.
Look at that, man.
Yeah.
So you guys that were hanging out with us all afternoon,
Stack of dimes.
We started by just cutting a notch in this thing, a couple notches, made a relief for our battery box, and now thanks to
what's your name? Nate.
Thanks to Kevin and Nate.
Everybody give it up for Nate.
Nice weld. We're going to clean that up
awesome,
a little bit.
Man.
No.
He's going to be the next guy we see on TV with some really cool welding shop making cool stuff.
That is awesome. Well, Chris, Grease and Gears Garage is about to do some Juicy Lucy's here in Minneapolis.
Yeah, what is this? I understand you guys have a special sandwich here called a Juicy Lucy. Who knows about the Juicy Lucy? Yeah? I'm just finding out about this now, but I tell you by tomorrow morning, I promise you I'm going to be an expert. Me and this kid here.
We're going to eat them until we figure it out. And if you're on Facebook Live, you don't know what a Juicy Lucy is, you You're not going to know because you're not here. No, it's a burger that has cheese inside it. So it's like we're Juicy Lucy in it, man. Says Billy Bison from Lost Your Ton Up Club here. Man, I lost it. It's a long day. Anyway, Greasy Gears Garage, we're done for the day. We appreciate Progressive International Motorcycle Show letting us be here. We appreciate JMP Cycles, the world's largest distributor of aftermarket motorcycle parts, for being a sponsor of ours. We appreciate all of our presenters.
Welltables.com.
Welltables.com. We appreciate, everybody like Nate that's just supports us, by watching us and keeping up with us. And that's what it's about, man. What are we doing? Oh, we're taking a picture?
You asked the world's worst snowblazer ever.
You've now got a picture of her finger. So.